boy DJ Waffles on the check-in, and listen, this is a special interview. You know, a special interview if I got flowers and grass and stuff like that. They was like, oh, it's someone important coming today. So we dressed it up for this amazing person right now.
Thank you.
Listen, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. My name's Millie Go Lightly, a.k.a. the British Barbie. I'm just kidding. Nobody actually calls me that. I just call myself that. And I'm here today. This is like my first interview.
Yes. So, yeah, it's edited now that this is the first. So, listen, let's go into, like, how you got started making music. Mm-hmm. Because remember, you were just telling me you was like, you had a desk job in the UK. And then tell me, how did you even get into the music?
I knew I wanted to sing from maybe being like 8 years old. Okay. But it was like totally off the table as like a realistic career goal for me. Because I'm Irish, so everybody in my family can sing. So my mum was like, whatever, like we've got a million of that. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't really like seen as like a special thing. It was just a cool thing that my parents would have me do at their dinner parties for their friends. And then when I was 15, I started writing my own songs. But I grew up listening to like Gwen Stefani, 50 Cent, Nelly Furtado, like people like that. So I was like fascinated when Dido did that record with Eminem.
Fire, I remember that one.
Yeah, and I was like, wow, like she's somebody that looks like me, is from England, in the kind of area of music that I want to go into. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, I could really
It's feasible now.
Yeah, but I was like, how the hell am I going to get there? You know, I had no idea. So I went to college in London. I was in college for like 3 years. And while I was there, I was doing like small shows. I was playing relatively small shows in London. And then I met a producer randomly who said, you should start listening to Young Thug. Swear to God.
That's crazy.
I think I still have the email.
That's crazy.
Yeah, this producer said, I think you should start listening to Young Thug. And I was like, you know, looking at me, you wouldn't think like, oh yeah, like start listening to Young Thug. But anyway, I did, and I just became so obsessed.
Wow.
This was in like the SoundCloud time. Like Travis Scott was posting music on SoundCloud regularly, Tinashe, Young Thug. So I just really became obsessed with his music and just got my desk job after I left college. I got a job in London and was just hammering off emails to every producer that lives here. And now it's so embarrassing because I know that they know I emailed them or I DM'd them or like tweeted them, whatever.
Wow.
And you can't unsend that. Like it's just there, you know? But yeah, all of them. Hit all of them.
Wait. So, all right. So now the music gets started. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What would have been the typical job would have been the job that you was working at for what you was doing, and that would have been the end for you. If you didn't do music, you probably would have did that.
Well, all of my friends, and I'm not exaggerating, all of my close friends are in England. They're all doctors and lawyers. Like that.
So that would have been the typical that's what I.
My mum is still to this day, and she'll watch this and be like, that's true. To this day, she thinks I'm going to call her and be like, I've changed my mind, I'd like to go to law school. I think she's still holding on to that.
I think that's a negative.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the path, you know.
Wow. So now you get to the US, right?
Yeah.
And tell me how that starts to work for you.
Well, it wasn't working for a minute. And I think my parents were like, but my mum and dad would be on the phone to me every day, like, I don't think this is right. And I'll never forget, I went to see my first Young Thug show and I called my dad because I was like, I couldn't believe what I'd just seen. And I called my dad and I was like, and I met 21 Savage. This was 2016, High Horse Tour. And I called my parents and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to like get in with these people. Do you know what I mean? I was like...
Because there's so much going on.
Yeah. Right. And like Thug was like 3 hours late for the show. Do you know what I mean? I was like, oh, what the hell's going on? And my dad was like, okay, fine, you can come home. And he's never said something like that to me. Normally he's so encouraging. And he was like, fine, you can come home. And I was like, absolutely not. So I ended up staying and pretty much like followed Jeff Thug around the tour dates. And then I didn't see him. I really didn't see him. I went to work with Wheezy for a second, but I really didn't see him. So he had a show. He was touring with Drake in the UK. So I sent my parents to have tea with him in London to meet him and whatever. So I wake up from a nap and it's just my mum with Thug, like a photo of them, like they've just met in the UK.
Wait, hold on. Yeah. This is the new line. I'm so confused. Wait a minute. Wait, Millie, wait. Just
My parents got in the car, drove 2 hours to go and meet him. They went to the Drake concert.
And they met him, and they had tea with him.
Yeah.
And you wake up, you see a picture with them, and now...
I knew it was all going to be fine at that point. Because up until that point, they thought I'd, like, lost it slightly. Because they were like, we just don't... They listened to his music, they saw his music videos.
Right.
And they were like, how is this going to work? So, yeah, once I seen the picture with them, I was like, oh, it's going to be fine.
Okay, so now he drops Beautiful Thugger Girls, and you get on 2 of the songs on this... And the mixtape actually went gold.
Yeah.
And, like... How do you take this stuff in? Like, you got to understand, like, how you was explaining to us, like, I went to work with Wayne, this, that, third. Like, you were doing, like, some cool stuff, and, like, how do you take all that in? Like, hey, I'm about to work with Doug. I'm about to be on 2 songs, and it goes gold, and I'm just really getting started.
Well, the first night I went to record, I walked in, and it was Silent Sounds at the time, and it was a Friday night. There was like 1 million people there. I'm pretty sure Lil Baby was there, London was there. I walk in and Future's there, recording Relationships. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I like went off in the loo for a minute because I knew he wanted me to like sing his words for She Wanna Party. And I couldn't quite understand like what, like the accent yet. You know, it was like so he had to take my phone and write the words down so I would be able to understand what to sing. And I think I still have the photo. I went to the bathroom at Silent Sounds and took a photo, and, you know, I couldn't really believe it was happening, to be honest. And then I went in there and I sucked. Like, I was so bad. And it was horrible. And I was like, I can't believe that's just happened. But weirdly enough, I think because I was so nervous that first night, I woke up early the next day. I went to go to the studio at like 5 instead of turning up at like 10. And after you've choked, I mean, the only way is up from there. So
wait, exactly. See, this is I knew Millie had it in her. Yeah. I knew she had it in her. So you just went and fixed it.
Yeah, it was bloody awful. And then so I said to him, I was like, do you mind if I like redo what I did yesterday? And that just doesn't really happen in that environment. Like, you do your thing and that's it. And he was like, yeah, of course. And we did Family Don't Matter the next night. Thank God. It was She Wanna Party was the first night, which was horrible. Yeah, I was like, oh my God. And I remember I hit this one note and it was so off, and everybody's head in the studio turned to look at me, and it's like a glass panel in front, and I was like, you've just blown this. And I was like, but it's fine. Do you know what I mean? We've blown it. It's fine. Wow. I'm here now. Do you know what I mean? So I went back in swinging the next day. I was ready to go.
So now, all right, especially with you getting those 2 records on there, so now everything starts to catapult for you. I'm sure you go on tour.
Yeah, we did, We did like a European tour. Bear in mind, I had 24 hours notice of that. So, and I'd never...
This is the life. You don't think that's amazing, because I'd be ready to go like 24 hours. See, you're a female. I'm Waffles, like. But I'd just be ready to go. I'd just get like maybe a bag, 2 pairs of jeans, some stuff, and I'd be ready to go. Not for you.
So I don't even know how to do my own makeup, because I went to an all-girls school for like 18 years of my life. So I only started wearing makeup like 3 years ago. So I have to call my friend who's a makeup artist. She has to write instructions down for me. She goes out, I'll never forget this. She went out and bought me all the stuff and taught me how to do it so I could do my own makeup on that tour. Wow. Yeah.
So you don't even know if you was really looking good. You was just trying to figure out.
I look like trash, which is why I can't even watch those videos back. I can't watch them back. It's just horrible. And I'll tell you this as well. Nobody told me when you go on stage, you have to have a mic pack on, right?
Right.
So, of course, I show up in a dress. Well, where the hell are you supposed to attach the mic pack to?
So this is interesting.
Yeah, it was. Do you know what? My friend the other day was saying to me, like, you didn't jump off the diving board, like you were pushed off, and it's so true. Like, you know, it was a car crash, but I knew it was like an ascending car crash. So I was like, you know.
So now, all right. So now at this point, now you start to understand. You start to understand the music industry, and it's like before you even get into projects, it's like. Everybody, you're like highly sought after. Like you're starting to get all these features. Like, how does that happen for you? Like, Lil got it. It's everybody gonna. It's like everybody that's really, really moving around. It's like grabbing you. Like, hey, you want to do a song? Hey, you want to do a song? How does that happen? Or is it more so like you kind of feel like it's a fit? Because even on the record, which one was it? Problem Child. Like that was so far. It almost lost me when Nar came on and started rapping. I was like, wait a minute, wait.
Yeah.
Where was all this going? Like how does the process work for you as an artist? Like doing those features with those people.
Well, I've got like a little list of people who I over the years have been like, I really would love to work with this person, and once I write it down, it normally just materializes in some way.
Write it down and make it plain.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I think moving to Atlanta for me was really, that enabled me to work with these people because I had just come off the back of one of the biggest albums of that year. And so because I had that co-sign from Thug, and that was the first music I'd ever made, really, which is insane, saying that aloud is insane. But it just, I really, I'm like a little hustler. Like I'll hit people on Instagram, I'll go to their session and be around them for a while and see how they work. Because sometimes what happens is as well, I end up really becoming good friends with them.
Right.
So sometimes you don't want to insert yourself into something when you have a genuine relationship with them. But normally it ends up working out that we get to have both. Like we become friends and we also like do records together.
So what's your favorite song that you featured on so far? Like that you created as a feature, you think?
Well, excluding the Thugger Girls ones, obviously. I mean, when I got that record with Nav, I was a Nav fan.
With Collages?
Yeah.
I was just listening to that too. That one's hard. Yeah, I need to check that out.
And I was not with Nav. I've never met him, but I embarrassingly, like I just told you, when that record came out, I tagged him in the story, and I saw that I'd like messaged him in like 2017, like, oh, I'd love to work with you, so it happened. I'd never met him or anything like that, but I think the biggest I can't believe this is happening again, was doing that soundtrack with 21 Savage and Slaughter Gang,
Spiral, right?
Yeah. That was I couldn't believe it was really happening,
So now what's the goal for you? Because now you do have a single that you're pushing right now. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I just put a single out with Kid and Rylo called Jealousy. It's produced by Quay Global, does a lot of Lil Baby records, and that was my first session in the US actually, so it's taken a while for that song to come out, but the record is all three of us.
That was a good collab.
And it came about really organically. Like I was hanging out with Kid a lot the summer before the pandemic, and I went over there with that record, and Rylo was there. And he was like, oh, this is Rylo, you should get him on it as well. And so all both of them, it was all three of us on there, which I don't think you really see that too often, like a female with two male rappers.
I thought Problem Child was going to be... I just felt like that was going to be the crossover record, like the top 40 record that would just do something so different. Because I was like, when I heard it, because I put it on my mixtape project, obviously.
Thank you for doing that as well.
For Waffles Weekend. And... it was like when I was playing it for the people on live, it just blew everybody away because it was so different from everything that I was playing, and it was just like everybody was just like, "Oh my god, that sounds good."
I was really nervous because that's my first single, so I'm in there, I'm like on my couch, and I'm like, "Oh god," when it starts playing, I'm like, because I sometimes think, are people not going to be able to understand what I'm saying? Like I just never know. Your brain creates all these things that aren't real, when you put your own music out.
So for you people out there, I was actually trying to track her down for a long time, and then I finally got the chance to get her. I was like, yes. So tell me the process. Like, where were you at that point when I was trying to contact you before to get you? Because right now you're super bubbling right now.
Thank you.
Where was you then when I first checked you out?
I was at that time, I remember, because Meezy, who manages 21 Savage, and I were talking a lot, and I was flying out, I flew out to LA to meet Savage, and that was how I ended up being fortunate enough to do the soundtrack with them. But when you reached out, I was in the phases of 21, Slaughter Gang, and kind of I'm working with Kid Hazel, I was kind of seeing what was up over there. So I was doing that, when you had reached out the first time.
And now look at her. She's blown up, and her first interview is with Waffles. So listen, in the UK, do they eat waffles down there?
Yeah, but interestingly enough, the waffles that I grew up with were like potato waffles.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Explain.
It's like a hash brown, but it's like shaped in the shape of a waffle. Yeah, but now everything's becoming more Americanized.
Because I was about to say something like really slow, but I just don't know. Because I was like, where's Belgium at?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, Belgium. Yeah, exactly. So in the UK.
All right, listen.
Yeah.
This is great conversation.
It would be like, yeah, you'd have either like potato waffles, which you probably got in your mum's probably got them in the freezer,
right? Or
you'd go out maybe somewhere and they would have Belgian waffles on the menu.
Do you like Belgian waffles?
Yeah, of course. I love all waffles.
Okay, so don't worry. We'll bring you back. We'll bring you back for waffles because I'm cooking waffles for like everybody in the United States right now. I got to just go global now.
With the waffle.
All right. So tell me, so now since you got the single out, are you gearing up to put a project out?
Yes,
so,
I am. Oh my god.
Is it hard?
You said what?
Is it hard to put out? Picking the records?
What do you mean?
Like putting together the whole process.
Oh god, yeah. I thought you meant it's music hard. I was like, Christ, I hope so. It's only taken 3 years. Yeah, it is hard because Chris, my manager that's outside, I was like, listen, I had this Barbie, I'm not even joking, I had this Barbie and my dad remembers it and when I was a child and it's like a Western cowgirl doll, Barbie, it's cowgirl Barbie. And I was like, I would love to do a record that's like in the theme of Western Barbie.
Right.
And so I start working with like Lex Luger, Kid Hazel.
Lex is good.
Yeah, he's phenomenal, and Kid Hazel as well. And they really gave me the sound. Like they had sent me these beats. Kid Hazel sent the first one to me. It was called Kill Bill.
Oh wow.
And I was like, oh, that sounds like a bit of me. So I click on it and I just hear the sword going and it's like Western-y vibe. And then I said to Lex, I was like, do you have any like cowgirl sounding beats? And so he sent me one. So that's on that. Yeah, it's
wow.
Yeah.
So any features that we should probably know about?
Yeah, I just added a last minute addition. So I don't know if you know Tia Corrine. She's a really hard female rapper. She's
I'm gonna check out after
yeah,
today.
She's from North Carolina, but I had never worked with a female rapper before, like embarrassingly. I don't know why. It's just
still the beginning.
Yeah, it's not on purpose at all. But so she reached out to me and I was like, oh, she's like phenomenal, like her visuals, everything. And so she messaged me, and bear in mind I've only ever worked with guys. Right. And she's like, hey Millie, would you like me to bring beats to the studio? And I'm like, oh my god, like so organized. And she's like, what kind of beats do you want? And I was like, cowgirl.
Right.
Like if you
So you still sticking with this like this is
yeah, and she was like, well, what the hell does that mean? And I was like, if you and I were going to go around like robbing a bank, that kind of beat. And she came through and she played me this one beat and it was perfect. And I said to Chris, because I was like, I don't want to add anything else, I was like, I'm done. And then we did that and I was like, damn, I'm going to add that on there. So she's on there.
So what do you want the people like to actually get from your music? Because you guys are artists. So what picture are you trying to paint for your people to actually buy into when it comes to like the music wise? Like what's the story of you?
The story of my music is really it's very, I like to do a lot of my work on like, it's thematic, like how I just told you about the Barbie. It's obviously not really about the Barbie, but there was something in that about a woman taking control of her surroundings and being able to like get it out of the mud by herself. It's been like it's been a grind for me to like get to this point now.
Definitely.
And I think the message of the music is like, we can do it ourselves. Like women can do it themselves, Not saying we don't love working with all these amazing rappers, we're not saying that. But,
right.
We're not saying that. But we're saying like, the project is very much, if I was, it's like for girls that ride around with their guy in the car and,
Okay.
they're observing the lifestyle and they want to be a part of it.
So what's like a studio session for you? Like, so now that we know that guys, there's a lot of lazy guy rappers out there.
No, they're not lazy at all. They literally, I've learned everything I know from them. Literally.
Are guys late or lazy?
They're late. they are late. But do you know what? You forget how you were like, oh man, this man's like 4 hours late. And then they come in and they're like, it's just like the
instantly gets done and you like,
and I'm just like, yeah, okay, never mind. Yeah, my sessions are very, if it's just me by myself, like me and my engineer John, I'll just have a pack of beats, me by myself. I have like this Disney princess mug that's at my studio. They leave that out for me. I have a coffee, you know, like it's just very chill. But then if I go to somebody else's, I mean...
It is, what's the craziest session that you've ever had and you was like, oh my goodness, like this is a lot. But I'll get the job done. That you walk into a session.
A few sessions with Kid have been like that, where I've been like, "Oh, this is a lot going on." When I've walked in, do you know what I mean? But actually, everybody around Kid, you know, they became my friends, and they feel like my family now when I go around them. But definitely, the craziest I've ever seen was that first day I got off the plane. Came straight to Silent Sounds. They were recording relationships. I'd never seen anything like that. There must have been like 20 to 25 people in there. In one studio room? Yeah.
Jeez Louise. I guess it's the energy maybe.
Yeah.
I guess you catch the energy from the people in the room possibly, I would assume.
Yeah, it was rough. I was like, oh my God. And I just, you know, I'm not naturally somebody that will take control of a room especially because you're the only girl, so I would just sit in the back and just, you know, like wait for my turn, you know.
Right. Okay, so before we get out of here, everybody know how they can follow you on social media, how they can keep up with all your music, and how they can get ready for the next project that you're gonna be dropping.
So easily enough, I'm just Millie Go Lightly on everything, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. I'm just Millie Go Lightly everywhere.
Make sure y'all stay locked. Yes, once again, I'm going to have to say this. This is her first interview ever in her entire life. And it was with DJ Waffles. Make sure y'all stay locked. Hey, wow.